Hello everyone, Jennifer Baker here. It is a beautiful day to make something photo-worthy together. Last year I showed you how to transfer photos and other images to wax candles, which you loved. So this year I'm showing you how to transfer photos and images to wood. Yes, wood. This is so cool. So you can print out a beautiful full color photo or image on your printer and transfer it to a wood sign or plaque like this. And because I love to test things, I tried a bunch of different types of wood printers and methods, and I'm sharing the exact supplies, tools, and techniques for the best results every time. I'll also show you how to take it a step further by adding a little vinyl message to your wood, just like you see right down here. So come with me so I can show you how to transfer your photos and images to wood just like this. The best projects start with the best materials. So let's first talk about what kind of wood to choose for this project. For the best results, you want to use a soft wood like basswood or pine. A soft wood will allow the ink to absorb better, and it will result in a better transferred image. Whatever you do, avoid hardwoods like birch, oak, or that mystery wood that you found in your garage. I'm using both basswood plaques, like you see here, and basswood planks with the bark still on the edges, which I think makes for a really cool rustic look. Next, you need a printer. I tried both color inkjet and color laser printers, and while inkjet does work, the laser printer does hands down the best job. Here is an inkjet transfer, and here is a laser transfer. Do you see the difference? So if all you have is an inkjet printer, it will work, but if you have a choice, go for the color laser printer. I am using my Lexmark C3326 laser printer. Now the paper you put in your printer matters too. You want basic, white, 20-pound copy paper, just the regular old stuff. Don't use the premium paper or photo paper. You want thin paper for the best transfer results. Now to transfer the printed image from your copy paper onto your wood, we will use Mod Podge. I recommend the dishwasher safe Mod Podge for this project as it's not quite as water soluble as the regular stuff. You'll also want some foam brushes and a brayer tool to do the actual transferring. And also a heat gun or a hair dryer can speed up the drying process, but this is totally optional. You can just let it air dry too. Now to protect the finished wood with a transferred photo, we will use an acrylic spray like this Krylon UV resistant matte finish sealer. And it's going to protect it and allow us to personalize it. So to personalize our photo or sign, as I have done here, you can cut and apply vinyl. I'm using black and white permanent vinyl along with some standard grip transfer tape. I will show you how to use a Cricut cutting machine to cut the vinyl. And to do that, you're also going to want a green machine mat, a weeding tool, and a scraper tool. Finally, you need a photo or a design. I have this awesome photo of Greg and I. So either find a photo that you want to use, or you can just make these fun holiday signs. I'm sharing these with you so you can make some super cool things to decorate your walls. So let me show you where to find these images, and then I'll show you how to transfer your images and photo to wood and personalize them. Step 1. Print your photo or image. To start off, you need to print a photo or image to transfer to your wood. I printed this photo of Greg and I, and I've also included these two winter images for you to use if you'd like. One has a festive snowman, and the other has some pretty cardinals perched on a branch covered in snow. You can add personalization to any image you choose, and I will show you how to do that in just a bit. If you use your own image, which I expect most everyone watching this will want to do, I recommend using a photo with dark or saturated colors, as those types of pictures show up best on the wood. For this project, I'm using an 8x10 aspect ratio photo that will let me cover my piece of wood entirely. I recommend printing photos that are bigger than your wood surface, as it's easier to line up the photo and you don't have as many photo edge cutoffs on the wood. Now keep in mind, any white, light, or tan color in your image will come out the color of your wood, so it'll be the same color. So whites won't look white, whites will look wood colored. Now once you have an image selected, you need to mirror it. This is very important. When you mirror an image, you're basically reversing it from left to right, as it would appear as if seen in a mirror or a reflection. This way, it will be facing the right way when you transfer it to your wood. And so any writing you have on it won't appear backwards or anything like that. Now, if you're using the winter designs, I have already mirrored those for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So first, find a digital photo or image that you'd like to transfer to your wood. And then let's mirror it. To mirror your image on a Mac, double-click on the file so it opens in the Preview app on your Mac. Once the file is open, go to the Tools menu at the top of the screen and click Flip Horizontal. To mirror your image on Windows, double-click on the image to open the Photos app, and then select Edit from the drop-down menu. Then select the Crop and Rotate button at the top of the screen and click the Flip button on the right side to flip the image. After the image is mirrored, it's time to print it. I recommend you print your image on plain 20-pound white copy paper using a laser printer. Lighter weight paper is better because when it comes time to remove it, the lightweight stuff is a lot easier to get off. If you don't have a laser printer, you can bring your photo to a print shop and have them print it for you. Just be sure to tell them that you want plain 20-pound copy paper, not anything heavier or fancier. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use an inkjet printer for this transfer project, but from my experience, the quality is just not going to be as good. Some of the issues I've run into include smeared ink, loss of picture due to adhesion problems, and, well, just plain old dull colors. And that gives it a more vintage appearance, which maybe you'll like. But it does work, and if you don't have a laser printer and you still want to do this project, there's no harm in trying as long as you know the quality won't be quite as good. Once your image is mirrored, it's time to print. On a Mac, the shortcut to print is to hold the Command and press P at the same time, and on Windows, hold the Control button and press P. On the pop-up screen, I recommend you click Advanced Options and make sure your paper type is set appropriately. And make sure your quality is set to best for the most vibrant image. And then click Print. Again, make sure to use the thinnest paper you can. Thick paper is just really hard to remove from the wood. Okay, now that we have our print ready to go, it's time to choose our wood. When deciding what kind of wood to use for this project, it is important to choose a soft wood like basswood or pine, and not a hardwood like birchwood or oak. Hardwood does not let the ink absorb into it like the softwood does, and that makes it a lot more difficult to transfer your photo onto it. Most importantly, do not use finished wood because your image will not transfer to it. I'm going to use this natural basswood plank for the photo of Greg and me. And then I'm going to use this basswood plaque for my winter photos. Step 2, get my free design files. I am sharing my winter scene images and the This Is Us phrase if you'd like to use it. To get these, just go to my blog at jennifermaker.com/354 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. And then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 354 and then click it to download a zip file with the various files, including PDFs with premiered images that you can print. Now let's talk about how to prepare and cut your wood transfer designs to make on a Cricut cutting machine. If you want to use the same phrase that I used, just upload the SVG file to Cricut Design Space. If you're unsure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how. This is what that looks like. This is us saying that I will be putting on the wood along with the photo of Greg and me. Now I'm going to show you how to personalize your images in Cricut Design Space by adding a name to the winter display. But of course, you can add any text you like to any image that you're using. All right, so to add text, click on Text over on the left. A box will pop up where you can add your text. Feel free to select whatever font you like. I'm going to use the font Bright, which I got from fontbundles.net. If you want to upload your favorite font to Cricut Design Space, I can help you out. Just go to jennifermaker.com/fonts for a tutorial and video that walks you through the whole process. Once you've picked out your font, click in the text box and type whatever you like. I'm going to type the makers. You might want to type your name. Now we need to resize our text. First, we need to measure the width of our wood. I'm using an 8 by 10 inch plaque to go along with my 8 by 10 inch image, and I want the saying to be about half the width. So I'm going to resize it to 4 inches wide using the resizing handle on the lower right of the bounding box. And I'm going to keep my This Is Us saying the size that it uploaded, which is about 3.5 inches for my project. But feel free to resize this as well depending on the look that you're going for and the size of your wood. Once we have everything set, click Make It in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Step 3, cut your vinyl. And of course, this is only if you're going to put vinyl onto your project after you've transferred it. So this is entirely optional. All right, so now I'm going to cut out my designs, and that's the name that I'm going to add to the winter image and the saying that I'm adding to the photo. I'm going to use my Cricut Maker 3 for this tutorial, but you can use any Cricut cutting machine for this project. All right, so if applicable, select On Matte on the next page, and there's nothing to change on the Prepare screen, so we just click Continue in the bottom right. Now I'm using Cricut Premium Vinyl in white for my first mat, so I'm going to select Browse All Materials and click Premium Vinyl Permanent Glossy for my material setting, and then click Done. Then I'm going to select More Pressure to get a cleaner cut. I will also click the box to the left of Remember Material Settings, since we're using the same material and settings for both cuts. It'll just save a little time. Now place the white vinyl with the shiny side up on your Cricut Green Standard Grip cutting mat and burnish the vinyl to the mat using the brayer tool. Load your machine mat and press the flashing button to start the cut. When it's finished cutting, unload your mat, remove the vinyl by flipping the mat over onto your work surface and peel the mat away from your vinyl to prevent it from curling or wrinkling. For our second mat, I'm using black permanent vinyl in the same settings, so I just go ahead and load that and start the cut and unload it the same way. And once your vinyl is cut, you'll need to remove any excess vinyl by weeding it with a weeding tool just like this. Step 4. Assemble your wood transfer photo. All right, now that we have all of our pieces for our project, it's time for the fun part, transferring the photo to the wood. First, cover your workspace with butcher paper or some other kind of protective covering. Next, set your piece of wood with the best side up because wood is a natural product and it's going to look the way it is. So you might want to check both sides to see which side you like best. And then get your photo and set that print side up right out in front of you. Now with a foam brush, paint a generous but not thick layer of dishwasher safe Mod Podge on the printed side of your printed picture. Make sure to coat the entire picture and remember to use nice, long, even strokes. And I'm recommending dishwasher safe Mod Podge versus the other types of Mod Podge because it's not quite as water soluble and it won't dissolve quite as easily when we put water on it later. Once you have your picture thoroughly coated in Mod Podge, take your piece of wood and line up the good side to your image so that it is centered. Then press the wood down against the photo to adhere it. Now carefully flip your wood piece over so you have the picture side facing you and smooth all the bubbles out of the paper using the brayer tool or a foam roller. And make sure to wash your brayer tool after you finish smoothing the bubbles out as it will get excess Mod Podge on it and that's essentially glue and it'll make a big mess. So be sure to wash that. And then let everything dry overnight, including your piece of wood with your picture on it. Now, if you're anything like me and don't want to wait, I totally get it. So I have a trick for that. So to speed up the process and get a similar result, you can dry your wood with a photo on it using a heat gun or a hair dryer. Use even heating and make sure the photo is completely dry before you move on, okay? And once your project is completely dry, take a towel and dab water onto the photo. I recommend using a bowl of water so you can keep dipping the towel back into the water as you need to. Let the water soak in a minute or two. And next, take your towel and start rubbing the paper off the wood. Keep in mind, you don't want to scrub super hard or anything like that. Rubbing too hard can cause the photo to come off with the paper. So you just want to rub the paper with your towel. Once you get the paper peeling off, you can use your fingers to rub the rest of the paper off, which I found to be the best way to get the paper off without also peeling the photo up at the same time. Now keep rubbing until all of the paper is off the wood. And be patient, this does take some time, sometimes as much as 20 minutes depending on the size of your wood, but I promise the result is worth it. If your paper starts to dry while you're rubbing it, just add more water and continue rubbing the paper off. Okay, so once your paper is off the wood, I want you to seal it with a clear acrylic spray. Now remember, as always, safety first. I recommend wearing protective gloves, a mask, and eye protection whenever you are working with any type of household or industrial chemicals. Also, always make sure to follow all of the safety precautions on the product label to avoid any possible issues. So the acrylic sealer is going to add a nice protective finish to the wood and ensure that the photo does not come off when we add our vinyl saying with transfer tape. I use just one light coat to protect the photo. Now it takes about 1 hour to dry depending on your environmental conditions, of course. But once it's dry, we can add the vinyl. To do this, just cut a piece of transfer tape about the same size as your design and then remove the backing off of it. Then place the transfer tape on top of the vinyl. I like to use the taco method, so you just hold the transfer tape in the shape of a taco, put the bottom of your taco onto the middle of your design, and then smooth the tape over the decal from the center outward using the scraper tool. And now burnish it using the scraper tool again to make the vinyl adhere to the tape. Doing it this way reduces bubbles and wrinkles. Now gently pull the transfer tape off and the vinyl should come up with it. If the vinyl does not stick to the transfer tape, place the transfer tape back down and burnish it with the scraper tool again. Now decide where you want to place your vinyl. I'm placing mine at the bottom of my picture about 1/2 inch from the bottom, but you can place yours wherever you like. And then once you have it in position, press the vinyl piece down and burnish it onto the wood using your scraper tool. And gently remove the transfer tape, leaving the vinyl in place. To finish the project, add a few more light coats of clear acrylic spray and you are done. Now you have a stunning photo on wood. These make amazing gifts. Everyone is going to love them, and they're all going to wonder how you did it. If you have any questions about transferring photos to wood, please leave your question below this video or ask over at my craft group at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.